Okay, so good news in the NBA for the Charlotte Hornets organization and fan base. LaMelo Ball, we all expected him to be done with the season. He would not return for the playoffs. But then around a month or so, and he's actually going to be returning within this week or so to be pretty much an active player in the roster back with the Charlotte Hornets organization. This is huge news for the Charlotte Hornets, which I expected them to make the playoffs as everyone did, kind of towards the middle to the end of this season as they were trending. Now they are sitting at a 28-28 record, perfect 500, at an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. And they are sitting around 2 games from the 5th seed, and they are 2 games from the 9th seed. The Indiana Pacers are right behind them. So it looks like the Charlotte Hornets are kind of trending in that direction to where they may play in the play-in tournament whenever you get the 7th, 8th, and the 9th and 10th seed go at it for a couple days to pretty much position the last final standings of the 7th and 8th seed in both the Western Conference and into the East. Now, this is great news for the Charlotte Hornets. They have lost 4 in a row, and then they just won 1. And this brings a resurgence when you bring in LaMelo Ball back into that lineup, a guy who can give you 15 to 20 points easy, who can easily give you around 5 to 10 assists, and he's just an energizer bunny. He goes on the floor with you guys, and he makes everyone better, not only on the fast court or on the not only on fast breaks, but on the half court set as well. So this is huge news for the Charlotte Hornets, and not only for within this season, but I'm going to look towards the future, entering free agency and their future. As you know, I've always been highly on LaMelo Ball, and if he were to get drafted to the Hornets, that was an ideal and perfect situation for him because the Minnesota Timberwolves were in the Western Conference #1, and you already knew, well, at least for me, the D-Lo and Cat experiment would not work out. Now, credit the Wolves that they've been injured and they haven't had that many time to, they haven't had much time to play with each other, but for me, it's irrelevant. The Western Conference is stacked as it is. I've always positioned the Wolves need to pretty much blow it up and just have Anthony Edwards and build around him. And Cat and D'Lo got to get out of there. So I'm glad that LaMelo Ball did not join that mess in Minnesota. And then with the second side, LaMelo Ball to the Golden State Warriors. Now that would have been electric, but listen, you already got Steph Curry as your 1 and Klay at your 2, which Klay will be coming back. But this would have been huge if the Warriors would have picked up LaMelo Ball for this season, but you need to have Steph Curry as your 1, and LaMelo Ball, he wants to pretty much be a future superstar. Charlotte was perfect where he's at. And why I'm so high on the Charlotte Hornets, they have a bunch of young cats with high potential. Going from what we already know about Terry Rozier, who's around 25 years of age, a little older than some of these younger guys, but he's had a playoff experience with the Boston Celtics. And Scary Terry, as he's been called, he hit some clutch baskets this whole season, and he's been starting out of 1 and 2 from time to time. But not only from him, PJ Washington, a forward from the Charlotte Hornets, I've been very high on him. He's an ideal stretch forward in this day and age of basketball. You do have Malik Monk. You also do have Devontae Graham, which had an explosive season last season. And then Miles Bridges, of course, the high flyer and dunker out there. And then you did bring in Gordon Hayward, a true veteran on this team. Now, 4 years is going to be a lot of time for him. I don't expect him to be with the organization for the whole 4-year tenure. Probably around 2 to 3 years in that mix. But as of right here, right now, the Charlotte Hornets are looking like a playoff team. And they've been trending that whole momentum this whole season. Kudos to them, man. And my position with the Hornets, I did not think at the beginning of the season they would make the playoffs. But I knew in the future they had a great case to pretty much build, not a dynasty, but a young core together. And with LaMelo Ball, he could be that true superstar potential. And you can see it with LaMelo Ball's game this whole season. He was a 6-man, and then after around 15 games or so into the starting lineup. We can look into the payroll coming into free agency here. So Cody Zeller will be off your books. They could potentially re-sign him, but hopefully they don't throw around 15 mil again, because the Hornets, the one thing they're lacking in their department is a big. They've always gone with Cody Zeller the last 5 years or so. You've had Bismack Biyombo for around 3 years in that mix. And right now you're in a position to where they can get a true big on their team. Now, it's going to most likely going to have to be a veteran because the young cats out there, there's not many in the market. If you're looking at the free agents of a veteran, I mean, you could potentially bring back Dwight Howard. I'm not crazy about that, but there's Hassan Whiteside, JaVale McGee, players in that mix. But you're probably going to have to bring in a veteran player to play your center, unless they can somehow draft. And I don't know if that's ideal. But besides from that, they're overstacked on guards. Devontae Graham, Scary Terry, and LaMelo Ball. But Devontae Graham is cool coming off the bench. LaMelo Ball will be your starting point guard, sitting around 6'7" to 6'8". And then Scary Terry at your 2. Those are 2 crazy combo guards, which is a great direction. You could potentially, in the future, I could potentially see Scary Terry leave within the organization. But it looks like his ego's actually been pretty fine this season. I mean, Coach Abrego's done a great job of acclimating LaMelo Ball, Devontae Graham, and Scary Terry, all 3 at once, within rotations, let alone, dropping their ego. And this is a fun young team, man. They look like a college team that likes to run out there. They are bringing in their veteran presence. And we have seen with LaMelo Ball, he has the true confidence. And that's the one thing I preferred and liked him over Lonzo. Because Lonzo Ball is very nonchalant. And you don't see that passion in his game. But with LaMelo Ball, we've seen him play overseas, even in high school, pulling up from half court. Dude has swag. And not only from that, he has a high basketball IQ, crafty, and he gets his teammates involved the right way. So the Charlotte Hornets, man, I've always been high on them. I really hope they would make the playoffs because the Eastern Conference has some teams that just came out of nowhere, like the New York Knicks, the Hornets. The Hawks have been better than expected the last 3 weeks or so with their new head coach, Nick McMillan. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it as of right now. The Charlotte Hornets will be a great team to go against in the playoffs. The direction for them in the future is good. And you really have to build around LaMelo Ball as the main guy. As of right now, Gordon Hayward's going to have to be one of the main starting scoring options. But within the next year or two, I expect the Hornets to find and try to get a young forward, small forward who can score, to where they can replace Gordon Hayward the next 2 seasons or so. But with Miles Bridges, Scary Terry, PJ Washington, LaMelo Ball, and Devontae Graham, that's a good young start. That's a great young core. And I expect great things within the Charlotte Hornets, and finally for Michael Jordan to get some winning days of a young team out there. But a little overcast on that. Let me know what you guys think about the Hornets, their direction, and where they're at. We'll go from there.